everybody? It is your boy, Trey Sense, and we got a little bit of a video, a little bit of a discussion. You know how we do it here on the channel. So before we get into that, I need something from you. I need you to continue to check in and let me know where you're watching this video from. I need you to like this video, and I need you to share this video and be active in the comment section. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna go some fragrances. Greatest of all time. And this is based upon my opinion, and it's also based upon my collection, and it's based upon my thoughts. And this is a little bit different because for one, greatest of all time is totally 100% subjective to what you feel and how you feel, and you can't be wrong. This is a little bit different because these are a little bit different categories. So, and I'll talk about that as I go. As I reveal the fragrance, I will talk about why I feel like that particular fragrance fits that category. First one I want to talk to you about, this one could have been a GOAT for many different reasons, but if you've been around FragCom any length of time, then you know at one time this was one of the most talked about fragrances. It was one of the must-have fragrances. Everybody had it in their collection. Some people still do. Everybody has reviewed it, and just because it's an older fragrance and maybe has fallen by the wayside in some people's opinion, still doesn't mean that it's not a great fragrance. Still doesn't mean that, to me, it's not one of the greatest of all time. So to me, this right here is the sexiest, best smelling scent profile in my collection. The GOAT of scent profile and smell, and it's from the house of YSL, and it is La Nuit de l'Homme. This also could have been a GOAT for a date night fragrance. What you have with this one is just that sweet cardamom. Just an absolutely beautiful, stunning, great smelling fragrance. And about, let's see, this is 2025, about 2016, 2017, maybe between 2015 and 2017, this stuff made everybody's list. It was one of those fragrances that you just must have. La Nuit de l'Homme, La Nuit de l'Homme, La Nuit. Every time you turn around, it was La Nuit de l'Homme, La Nuit de l'Homme, La Nuit de l'Homme. You don't hear as much about it anymore. Does that mean that it's not good? Absolutely not. It is still one of the GOATs of FragCom. It is still one of the GOATs of FragCom. One of the greatest fragrances of all time. And I like it. And again, one of the best smelling fragrances in my collection, bar none, bar price, whether it's a body spray or an expensive niche fragrance, whatever. This scent profile right here, I don't think will ever fail. I think it is timeless. It's sweet, it's sexy. You can wear it in the winter, you can wear it in the summer, spring, fall, whatever. You can dress it up, you can dress it down, and for that reason, I think YSL La Nuit de l'Homme is the sexiest scent in my collection. So therefore, it is the GOAT of sex appeal or sexy smelling fragrances. This next one is again a category, as I just tried to come up with some different categories, some different talking points for you guys. Powerful. From the house of Mancera. It is none other than red tobacco. This is the most polarizing, most powerful fragrance in my collection. Is it the most popular? No. Is it the one that's gonna get you the most compliments? No, it's not. Is it the one that women are gonna stop you in your tracks and wear and ask you what you're wearing? Maybe some, but I like it. And to me, it's the most powerful fragrance in my collection because you have that mixture of really sweet tobacco and spices, and it's just 1 or 2 squirts of this will do you. That's it. That's all you need. You do not need 4 or 5 sprays of this. That's why the bottle is so full, because 1 or 2 squirts of this bad boy right here, and you in the game, baby. You in the game and you winning. So for me, I think this is it. Now, this one does lean more towards cooler weather, outdoor events. I don't know if you go to hockey games or you go to baseball games in the spring when, you know, the temperatures are still cool like right now, nighttime, great time to wear this. Great time to wear this. Because you may be able to even maybe go 3 sprays on it, maybe even 4 if you're lucky. But I would keep it between 2 and 3 sprays strategically, because if you go 4 or 5 sprays on this, you a bad mofo and you a bad mama jamma. You badder than Shaft in them. But nonetheless, in my collection, to me, when I think about powerful fragrances, fragrances that stand up, fragrances that make a statement and still smell good and do it in a sort of a classy, gentlemanly way, Red Tobacco is the first one that comes to my mind from the house of Mancera. Powerful, 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 powerful. Once upon a time, we were all younger, and we all spent a lot of time. Well, not all of us. Some of us spent a lot of times clubbing in the clubs or whatever, you know, even 50 Cent, you know. So, king of clubs, king of clubbing, the goat of late night, the goat of the evening, the goat of clubbing, from the house of Paco Rabanne. Yeah, it'd have to be 1 million. It'd have to be 1 million. Yeah. I mean, if you was going out to a night spot, and you was going to a club and you wanted something to stand out, well, to stand out as in get you smelled, not stand out as in set you apart. Here you go. This is the one that you would go to because you can smell it. It is super, super strong. It lasts a long time, and it does smell good. It does smell good. It's a good smelling fragrance. Like it or not, this fragrance smells good. And it's a reason that they still sell it. And that's something that needs to be said as well. All of these fragrances have been sold for several years now. Every last one of them. None of these are discontinued, and it's a reason for that. Some of these they've been selling for 30, 35 years. 30, well, at least 30 years, or right at it anyway. Right at 30 years. But to me, and this is a fragrance I don't wear a whole lot. I was late to getting this fragrance. I think I wore Cuba Royal for a very long time because it was a very good clone of 1 million. So that's the one I went with. But I had an opportunity to pick this up, and this does smell better than Cuba Royal. Cuba Royal is a really, really good alternative. But this just offers a little something extra and a little bit more body in the dry down than Cuba Royal. Now, the top of the two fragrances are very, very similar. Cuba Royal is a little bit more linear and doesn't have the movement and the development. But if all you're looking for is the sweet and the spice, then Cuba Royal is, 100% this. But if you like your fragrance to go a little bit deeper and have a little bit more movement, then you want to go with the OG. But if not, just get Cuba Royal, and you're gonna smell very, very close to this. But again, and every time I shoot a video that train, it doesn't matter whether I shoot it at, it's about 8:30 a.m. when I'm shooting this. It doesn't matter if I shoot it at 8:30 a.m., 3 a.m., whatever. It's like the train is coming. The house phone gonna ring next. What you gonna bet? Give it a second to let this train go by. That's what happens when you smushed in between a highway and train tracks. But that's the South, right? But nonetheless, I do think Cuba Royal is a good alternative to this. I don't think it's as good as this, but it's not as expensive either. Price has come down on this a long way over the years, so you can pick up a bottle of this just about anywhere at a really good price. But nonetheless, from the house of Paco Rabanne, the GOAT of clubbing, none other than 1 million. The most popular fragrance probably ever made. And a lot of people, it's going to be the GOAT of all fragrances. To me, it's not. Again, this is one I've went through several bottles of. I basically have this one in my repertoire for nostalgia. I can't tell you when the last time I sprayed this on, other than for review's sake, but it is what it is. From the house of Giorgio Armani, it is Acqua di Gio. And this, to me, is probably the most popular fragrance of all time. I don't know anybody that hasn't had this fragrance in their collection or some form of it. Now, when it gets right down to it, to me, I prefer the flankers of this. I actually prefer CK1 over this. Now, it's just my opinion. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. I like CK a little bit better. I think it's a little bit fresher, a little bit more versatile. I think it stands up a little bit better, and it came out before this. But if you think about CK and the frosted bottle, and then you think about where Aqua de Joe came along and was the bougie version of CK. But we're gonna give Aqu its flowers right now. We're gonna give Aqu its flowers. So we're gonna give good old Uncle Aqu its flowers. And it is a good smelling fragrance. I don't have anything negative to say about this fragrance, which is the reason that it's in this video. Again, there are people out there right now that swear by this, that wear this, they get a 6.7 ounce or the biggest bottle of this that they can get every year for Christmas, and they wear it every day, and they are told 1,000 times a day that they smell good, because they do. And it's a reason that they've been making this fragrance for, I think this will be the 30th year, either the 29th or the 30th year that they've been making this fragrance. And they've been doing that for a reason. And the sales have been high on it for a reason, because when you're looking for a fresh, aquatic, metallic fragrance, here you go. Here you go. Now again, I prefer CK1 and Azzaro's Chrome over Aqua de Joe, but that's just me. Part of the reason is because, which I need to get me a fresh bottle of Chrome, because I think mine has lost some of its punch, but it's an old, I've had it forever. But part of the reason why I like Chrome over CK1 is the way Chrome stands up. Not CK1, over Aqua de Joe, because of the way Chrome stands up. Aqua de Joe smells amazing, but it just never got a whole lot of performance on me. Now the flankers to this, I absolutely love. Again, this is one of the most popular fragrances ever, and that's the reason that it's in this video, but it also could be one of the fragrances that has the absolute best flankers of all time, between Profumo, Profundo, EDP, Parfum, Absolute, Essentiel. All of those are light out Profundo lights. Excuse me. All of those are absolutely outstanding flankers. You'll be hard pressed to find a fragrance line with better flankers than you will Aqua de Joe. Maybe something from YSL, and maybe Bleu de Chanel, maybe YSL Y. Those are some pretty good flankers. Maybe Valentino, but nonetheless, Aqua de Joe, in my opinion, it is the GOAT for being one of the most popular fragrances and standing the test of time. I mean, it's a fragrance that's been made 30 plus years and people still like it. Like Cool Waters has been made a very, very long time, even longer. But very rarely do you hear of a person that still really just loves the OG Cool Water. We always go to Intense or the Parfum or, you know, Run Wild, or we always try to find a different iteration of it. And I know there's probably somebody out there that still gets a bottle of Cool Water every day, every year, and wears it every day. And I could totally get it, because it works and it smells good. But in my opinion, this, in many people's opinion, is the most sold fragrance of all time and one of the best fragrances of all time. So for that, we're gonna give it its flowers. Again, I prefer CK1 or Chrome over Aqua de Joe, but nonetheless, Aqu is your day. Congratulations for being goated into the Trace Scents Fragrance Hall of Fame. You are goated as one of the most popular, or the most popular fragrance of all time. And that 1 million is settling down really, really nicely on my skin. Really sweet. That is just very, very loud. Very, very loud. Not quite as loud as Red Tobacco loud, but it's still very, very loud. All right, moving along. Best date night. And this was a toss-up. It was either this one or its predecessor from the House of Dolce & Gabbana is the one. And this is the EDT, not the EDP. I have the EDP as well. My EDP is broke. Funny story, my mechanic, I was at, if you remember a couple of years ago, a deer hit my car. ran right into the side of me, right there. I could see my house, and the deer ran right out into the highway, right into the side of my car, busted up my windshield. So I had to get some work done on my truck to get it road ready again, because it had been sitting for a while. So I just needed a few little odds and ends because I didn't know if they was gonna total my car or whatever. So anyway, I had my Dolce & Gabbana, the one EDP, in the truck with me because that was my sin of the day, getting some work done. My mechanic's son, with one swoop, that little rascal grabbed that bottle just like this with one hand and never stopped moving his hand, picked that bottle up and threw it. Didn't break the bottle, but it broke the atomizer, so it doesn't spray. So I had to go in there and push all of that down. What I'm gonna have to do is decant some of that juice out into a little a decant bottle and wear it that way. But it was a toss-up between that one and this one. Personally, I like this one better. It's got a little bit more citrus. To me, it's just as sexy. It got a little bit more citrus, and you don't hear a lot of talk about this fragrance anymore because, again, every time something new comes out, we forget about the stuff that has worked and has worked for a very, very long time. And this works. This is a great date night fragrance. It smells good. You are going to get tons and tons of compliments. And I'm gonna tell you, if you spray this on your hoodie or your sweatshirt or any form of fabric, it's going to get off in that fabric and it's going to last a nice long time. And you're not gonna have any complaints about longevity. I honestly don't know who complained about the longevity of this fragrance in the first place, because I get about 6 hours out of it. So I don't know. I don't know where the complaint came in, but that was one of the things that was said about it. Oh, it doesn't have good longevity, which could be a very good reason for people to be like, well, let's go buy the EDP, because that's what we do. If they released another one today with the same exact longevity as this one, nobody would complain about the longevity if they slapped it with Elixir, or on Tonts or whatever they, that they want to put on it, bubblegum edition. It is what it is. But that's where Fragcom can be tricky. You have to form your own opinion about certain things. And in my opinion, this right here is the GOAT of date night fragrances. The GOAT of date night fragrances. I smelled this on a woman one night, and I kept smelling her, and I kept telling her, I know what you got on. And she was like, I don't remember, I got it from my uncle. I don't think it's for men though. And I was just like, yeah, it's for men. And I knew exactly what it was. As I was leaving her apartment, she showed me the bottle, and I was like, yeah, it say right there. It's Dolce & Gabbana, the one. Doesn't it say for men? No, it doesn't. It just says the one. Okay, so I stand corrected. But I knew what it was because I had smelt it, and it smelt amazing on her. So, I mean, this could easily be a unisex fragrance. Maybe that's what Dolce missed it. They should have marketed this as a unisex fragrance, but nonetheless, it is a beautiful scent. To me, it is one of the quintessential go-to date night fragrances. I'm going on a date, a first date, whatever date. This is, in my opinion, goated. So, from the house of Dolce & Gabbana, it is the one, and it is date night. Staying in the house of Dolce. To me, this fragrance right here, and it's a toss-up between this one and Polo Blue, made the term blue a thing. Before this fragrance and before Polo Blue, we didn't refer to fragrances as blue. After this fragrance, I think we did. And this fragrance has been around for a long time, but to me, it's goated. It deserves to be goated, and it is light blue. Now, again, it's one of those fragrances we talk about, and myself included. Light blue summer vibes, light blue living Italian, light blue eating ice cream down by the river, light blue eating noodles in Stromboli. I mean, they've got 75 different flankers of them. But at the end of the day, light blue summer vibes is amazing. There's a few of them that are pretty good. But at the end of the day, it's kind of hard to knock this one off the pedestal as the best one if you're just objective about it and you just smell them and wear them. You're gonna be like, man, Summer Vibes is amazing. Summer Vibes is a banger. But is it better than this? Is it? It's newer, it's fresher. But is it better? I don't know. I don't know if it is or not. I don't know if it is or not. But I do know that this fragrance right here, when light blue came out, it made it popular, or it really pushed the blue fragrance into a category where now we'll do videos, hey, best blue fragrance. I don't think we was doing that before this fragrance. So for that reason, and the fact that they've been making it as long as they have, I'm talking at least a 25-year run on light blue. At least a 20, 25, at least, we'll say 20. We'll say at least 20 years, because this is 2025. So I'm thinking it came out around 2003, 2004, somewhere in there. May have been before, but we're gonna give it at least a solid 20-year run. And it's time for this fragrance to be goated and get the recognition that it deserves. And yeah, listen guys, it's another one that you can dust off, spray on, and wear it. And it smells good. It's going to get you noticed. It's going to get you compliments. And I have two bottles of it. I have the rubber cap bottle and this bottle. Are they different? Yeah, they smell a little bit different. They do. They do. The rubber cap bottle was a little bit stronger, believe it or not. But this right here is a very strong, and even though it says light blue, it's still a very masculine fragrance. I'll tell you another fragrance that this reminds me a little bit of, and it's, or that reminds me a little bit of this, and it's Versace's Manu Fresh. And that is a great smelling fragrance as well. But nonetheless, I think it is time for light blue to get its flowers and to be goated into Trace Scents Fragrance Hall of Fame. So light blue, I'm gonna give you your flowers and goat you and say that you are one of the originators of the term blue. Speaking of blue, this one right here is one of the most hated, but loved, but hated at the same time fragrances. I respect Dior because they didn't bore her with this one. They Diored her. Sauvage. To me, this is the most, I'm trying to determine whether to word it as iconic, or polarizing, popular, maybe, fragrance in my collection and maybe in Fragcom, because if you talk fragrances with a person, especially a she-male, a Sheba, she gonna mention Sauvage. Now she don't know whether it's the EDT, the EDP, the Elixir, unless she sells fragrances. But she gonna mention Sauvage. And she's not gonna pronounce it Sauvage. She gonna say, you got some of that Savage? I like that Savage. Ooh, that Savage smell good. Ooh, girl. He had on that Savage. But nonetheless, they talk about it for a reason, and whether we like it or not. And it's one that I don't wear a lot because every young guy that I work with knows about it, has it, wears it, and they love it because they get noticed and they get compliments from it. So, I mean, you got to think, when I was in high school, I was wearing Dracar and Preferred Stock. These boys is wearing Dior Sauvage. So, I mean, props to you, my young guys. But it gets old sometimes, you know, being asked about Savage. But it's time. It's time we give Dior Sauvage the proper respect that it deserves. It's not its fault that it's polarizing. It's not its fault that it's popular. It's not its fault that it's a scent profile that everybody loves and that everybody wants. You think I'm lying? Leave this bottle laying around your house with a bunch of people around and see if it don't come up missing. Just real talk. They're gonna walk off with it every time because they're gonna see that Dior and they're gonna know that's expensive. Then they're gonna see that Savage and they're gonna know, oh, it's popular. It's gonna walk off every single time. I promise you it is. I promise you. You can leave a bottle of something expensive laying around there that's $500 or $600 if it's not a name that they recognize. Because you know, this is what we do in FragCom. We dig off in the crates like DJs dig off in the crate trying to find that perfect sample. We dig off in crates trying to find that perfect fragrance. So some of that stuff they would walk right by not knowing that's a $500 bottle of cologne. They walked off with a $100 bottle of Sauvage, but that's a $500 bottle because they didn't know. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know. Not everybody knows what Argos is. Everybody knows Dior. So for the most polarizing or popular fragrance in my collection, we got a GOAT. You got to GOAT it, man. GOAT it. Dior Sauvage. Dior Sauvage, you are now GOATed and welcomed into Trey Scent's Fragrance Hall of Fame. All right, guys, that's it. Now, this can go a lot of different directions because I could go cheapy, you know, I could go office, I could go masculine, I could break it down by scents, I could go citrus, I could go daytime, I could go nighttime, and there'll be other videos, there'll be other goated videos where we're just goating some different fragrances in my collection that I think should be goated. You know, we're gonna goat some newcomers. You know, there's all kinds of genres, I guess they would be called, categories that we can goat fragrances. So this won't be the last of a video like this, but these are just the 7 that came to my mind today that I wanted to work on and talk to you about. So there we have it. And if you have any of these fragrances, my suggestion to you is that you get them out, spray them on, and enjoy them. Also, rest in peace to the homie. I say that like I know her, Miss Angie Stone. And Angie made great music for a long time. I didn't realize she was 63 years old. She still looked good for her age. And of course, she passed down in South Alabama on the way to Atlanta. It's kind of strange though, I'm gonna say this. It's kind of strange. She started talking about some things, the record labels and things like that. And it's funny, you don't make it very long after you start talking about certain things. But anyway, rest in peace, Miss Angie. Anyway, guys, listen, I love you all. May God bless you all. Any suggestions for a goated video? Leave it in the comments. Let your boy know. Let your boy know. All right, guys, I'm gonna get off of here and edit this and thumbnail it and do all that stuff so you can see it. Happy Monday. I hope everybody has a great day and welcome to March. I love you all and may God bless you all. Till next time, guys. Peace.